Tonight, Steve's guests are actor Ned Beatty, comedian Marty Cohen, and Maxine Andrews of the legendary Andrews Sisters. And now, here's Steve.
Thank you. Appreciate you joining us at home, and I have to ask our audience before we get started here, who won the applause contest before the show? This half of the audience? Or was it this half of the audience? You see, when you come to our show and are a member of the studio audience, we have a little contest before, and the winning side of the audience in terms of applause doesn't have to eat the donuts. You see, we give those to the losers. We have a good show tonight, a little something from the world of music. One of the members of the top recording group of the era, Maxine Andrews, is with us, of the Andrews Sisters. She'll be out here later. And a funny comedian, strangely enough, one of the stars of perhaps the most popular music show on television, Solid Gold. Marty Cohen is going to be out a bit later. Come on, Marty, don't you? You seen the show? He's good. Yeah, Marty's good. Now, how many people here saw Superman 1 or Superman 2? Huh? Did you? That's all right. We've had enough applause here for a little while. The reason I ask is that my first guest is a well-known actor you may have seen in Superman 1 or 2, not to mention many other television or film parts that include such great films as Performance. Did I say Performance? Deliverance, Nashville, Network, All the President's Men. However, I guess he probably is most familiar to us as the sidekick from Lex Luthor's Superman 1 and 2 appearances. I would like you to welcome a man who cannot possibly be as bumbling as he was in those two films. Would you welcome Ned Beatty? I was wrong. Have a chair.
Such a temptation. I know it.
I know it. Have a chair if you dare.
Hi, there's people.
Yeah, well,
I just came up from Los Angeles. I didn't know where I was coming.
Don't they have people there?
No.
No.
Cardboard cutouts.
I see.
It's terrible.
All full of smog.
Yes.
Yeah.
Little black lung cardboard cutouts. No, it's not that bad.
I have a feeling Otis was typecast that you played in Superman 1 and 2.
No.
You can sit over here if you like. You know, we don't have to shout at each other. Sure. How are you?
I'm fine. How are you?
That's good. Our audience is real excited to see you.
Good.
You know, they said ask him if he's really like Otis, and you've proved that it's pretty close. Huh?
Really like
Huh?
Just hard to get the thoughts through.
Tell us, you were saying if they make Superman 3 and Otis is not in it, what you're going to do?
Well, I'm going to write a script myself. I've been doing some producing and writing on the side when I have some free time, because I think it's an important thing to do. And I'm going to write a script about Otis being rehabilitated.
I see.
And getting out of prison. Don't you? That's
I'm not sure Otis is ever going to be rehabilitated.
Oh, yes.
It's too long. It might be a 3-part film or something, you know.
He's one of my favorite characters ever, I think.
Did I hear that you are fasting these days once in a while?
Trying once a week.
Once a week?
Once a week. I started on Friday, but then I realized that was an awfully good night to take my wife out to dinner. So
she didn't go for the fast.
She didn't go after. We have a babysitter every Friday night, and I picked that day to fast, which was silly. So I've changed to Saturday, so I'm working up till tomorrow. Does anybody know a good restaurant I can go to?
So tonight you splurge after the show,
Absolutely.
Huh? I see.
A big dinner, and then I won't eat until usually after church on Sunday.
Yeah. You said you had a new arrival in the family.
Oh, yes, we sure do. There's a boy that's named Ned Thomas Beatty, which is my name. And I've never used the Thomas, so he's named after me, but he's being called Thomas.
How old?
He's about this old.
Just and half of those are diapers, huh?
No. Thomas is 3 months old.
Oh, now do you get stuck with any of the diaper duty or not?
Of course.
Being rich and famous, you should hire somebody
no,
for that.
No, it's not being stuck with it. It's such a pleasure.
Yeah.
He's such a great guy.
Now, is this the third child for you?
No. I am actually the father of 7 children. Don't let Planned Parenthood know about me.
I didn't know that.
No. Only 7. Only 7.
Only 7,
Only
huh?
7. And my wife and I just have the one.
Yeah.
But I have 6 children by former marriages.
Uh-huh.
And,
Well, I met is that your oldest son?
Well, no, that's not my oldest son. My oldest son's in the Navy.
Oh, gee,
My oldest son in the Navy, he's on that famous ship, the Nimitz, which keeps getting in trouble. It never got into trouble until he got on it. And tap, 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 like that.
Carrying on in the tradition of Otis, huh?
Exactly, yeah. I mean, I don't know what he's doing. I got to talk to him. But no, I have a son who's 20.
Yeah, I didn't realize that. Well, the reason I ask is, as a father, have you changed in those fatherly duties, like diaper duties, from when the first son was born into the most recent, Ned?
You better believe it.
Huh?
You better believe I have. I think all men have changed a lot of things, a lot of attitudes and things. I've always been kind of happy to take care of children. There's a lot of motherly instincts in me. I mean, just quite frankly, I love babies and I love holding them and nurturing them and feeding them out. I've been lucky most of the time I've been around babies that have been breastfed, because that's a great way to do it.
Well, you're not trying to tell us you do that, too.
No, but I've wanted. No, but I was going to tell you I've wanted to.
Oh.
I've wished a couple of times. You know, sometimes when they're crying, there's nothing else that'll do.
Yeah. Well, you know, Paul Simon, the fine singer and composer, says that he actually has the urge, this will sound a little odd, to bear children. He really would like to go through that experience, which sounds a little strange.
Well, if you've had I've had twice the wonderful experience of having been there for Thomas and also for my youngest daughter, whose name was Blossom. And I was there and helped. First time we used the Lamaze method, and this last time we did a thing called the Bradley method. And if you've ever had that experience, I can understand him saying that. It's an amazing thing. I don't feel robbed of it. Before, I used to always feel like I was robbed, something was being kept from me, you know. But not anymore. If somebody gave me the chance, I'd do it once.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd try.
There was a film, in fact. Didn't Rabbit, wasn't that the name of it?
Yeah. I'd never got to see that, but a lot of friends were in that, yeah.
Well, what would you say the major changes are from that first son to the most recent? I mean, are you more loving? Do you don't mind getting up and changing diapers? What kind of a father were you first time around?
I hope I'm a better one all the time.
Yeah.
That's my hope. I think it's a little easier for me to be easy about when there's problems.
Yeah.
Before, I think when a baby was crying, I always felt like it was my fault and I'd get tense.
Yeah.
I'm less tense about it now.
Yeah. Maybe one of the reasons you're less tense, and one of the reasons you're in San Francisco, is TM, Transcendental Meditation.
Yes.
You're having, it's not a workshop, but actually a kind of
Sunday
night.
We're doing a benefit. You know, TM is something that's been around a long time. Most everybody probably knows what it is. It was brought to this country by Maharishi Mahesh Yogi, who's a small gentleman from India. Little Irishman, who came and he came to teach people how to meditate. And many people have learned, and many people do meditate. But it's not the kind of thing that you hear about all the time. It's not sold very much.
Yeah.
And very few benefits are done. But there's an element in TM called the Institute for Social Rehabilitation, which has been teaching prisoners to meditate. And it started basically in San Quentin in Folsom, up here in Northern California. It's a wonderful program. It's my favorite charity, I guess, because I've had the experience of working in prison. We talked about this a little before. Yeah. If you've ever worked inside a prison, whether you've ever been one in there for seriously or not, just to spend a day inside one gives you a very special feeling, I think, inside about what it must be like to be there. And to be able to support something that helps prisoners is very special for me. And this is something, I mean, you know, a guy learns how to do it. He doesn't need any equipment. He doesn't need anybody to tell him anymore after that. It's something he can do every day, and it can be a big help. As a matter of fact, they found out that it's one of the things that keeps people out of prison once they get out.
It's interesting, because I didn't know much more about transcendental meditation than, I guess, the next person. And you explained it real easily. You said it's a technique for relaxation.
Yeah.
And it's good in all walks of life, but in prison, where the level of aggression and pent-up emotion is so high and leads to the kinds of violence you see, it's a wonderful release. Anyway, the benefit is Sunday night, 8 o'clock at the Galleria.
It's 7 o'clock.
Oh, I'm sorry, 7 o'clock.
It should be 8, but it's going to be at 7.
Okay. Okay.
We're having it early. Somebody's got to get back to Los Angeles.
And you got some good people there. Ned will be there, and mention the others. Some people will
Well, Stephen Collins. Now, do you know who Steve Collins is? He was in the movie Star Trek, and he's done some wonderful movies since. Oh, my mind has gone completely blank. He's a wonderful actor. He and I were in All the President's Men together.
He'll be there.
He'll be there.
Okay.
We're the co-hosts. Doug Henning is there, the wonderful magician.
That'll be nice.
Doug's been doing TM for a long time. And
I know that, yeah.
Behind this thing, 100%. And Andy Kaufman may just show up.
Crazy Andy?
We had a benefit in Los Angeles, and Andy came. He was so funny. He got my little niece up on the stage. I was scared of that. He's a funny man.
You'll see all of
And Andy is a meditator, too, so we got all kinds.
That's hard to believe.
Oh.
That's hard to believe.
No.
I thought he got kicked out of TM,
No.
but I guess I was wrong.
You can't get kicked out. I mean, you just learn it and you do it. That's all.
He will be there along with Ned Beatty, and I appreciate your joining us tonight. That's November 8th, Sunday night, 7 o'clock at the Galleria.
And you can get tickets, they told me, through the Bass tickets, if everybody knows who that is.
Easy to do. All right. Maxine Andrews is coming out next. I sure hope you'll listen to us talk a little bit out here. And thank you for sharing some time. You're a real nice guy.
Thank you, sir. You
Ned
are
Beatty.
too.
I'm going to introduce a lady right now who's a member of a singing group whose music came to symbolize the good old USA for millions of Americans during World War II. The Andrews Sisters, on record and in film, really had a spirit and energy that reflected the best of the era, along with Glenn Miller and Bing Crosby, Bob Hope, and a few others. The Andrews Sisters meant home to soldiers all over the world. Now, before I bring out Maxine Andrews, I want you to listen to a little bit of one of their biggest hits. Here it is. Refresh your memories. Maxine and the Rest.
He was a famous trumpet man from out Chicago way. He had a boogie style that no one else could play. He was the top man at his craft. But then his number came up and he was gone with the draft. He's in the army now, a blowing reveille. He's the boogie-woogie bugle boy of Company B.
From the Andrews Sisters, would you welcome Maxine? You look great.
It's a nice warm crowd that you have tonight.
We have great people in our audiences most of the time. Tonight's even better than usual. I think it's because you're here.
No, I was standing backstage there watching your little bit with Ned.
Yeah.
And he was saying what a wonderful, warm crowd. And I said, you know, just in watching it, you could feel the warmth that the room exuded.
And they haven't been drinking, I can promise you that. Huh? We can't blame it on. See, I see that film on television once in a while, and it still has, I mentioned the energy that you had. Today, you get excited when you hear that song being done, the original version. Do you get that feeling when you see it?
Oh, it's very interesting. When the few times I ever look at it, I never really think of that being me up there, or I don't relate to those three girls up there. I keep saying, gee, boy, they really move, don't they? Oh, boy.
They, huh?
Yeah, they.
Well, you know, did you read that Ronald Reagan said when he sees his films on television, he said looking at himself is like seeing the son that he never met, you know? Didn't make sense to me either. Huh? But, you know, it's kind of detached, I guess, with the time passes and all.
You do, because time is just, time seems to just fly by. It's interesting because I can remember incidents. You know, I can remember the day that we shot that number, the picture, the month that we did the whole picture.
What year was it?
But I believe that was 1940 or 1941.
Okay.
I like when we say it that way.
Don't get too specific.
No, well, it doesn't seem so long ago.
Oh, I
when
see,
you
I see. Well, you know, I don't think I was stretching it when I said the Andrews sisters really, it was one of the things the boys over there were, when they thought of home and America and all of that, you were part of that. Did you feel it as it was happening? Did you think of yourself as being part of that image, or were you just singing?
No, not really, because it was a very interesting period. In one way, it was a very tragic period, and in the other side, it was a very gay and wonderful period, because it was like the whole country was having a big love affair with each other.
Yeah.
And you know, all of the people, and I just think that at that time, you never really think of those things. You just think that here I am out here, and I'm entertaining. I remember when we went overseas to North Africa and Italy to entertain the boys, and it was just so wonderful to get up on a little makeshift stage and look out there and see 7,500 servicemen, and just feel their expectancy of, you know, they'd probably been sitting there for 4 hours waiting for you to come so you could entertain them, and it was just.
Well,
it's so gratifying.
We're talking about it this afternoon, and it's interesting because that sense of communal sharing, this experience, which at once was tragic and it still had the excitement. The performers, like the Andrews sisters, they were on the give. We're saying so many people today are on the take. You were on the give, giving the music and the love, Bob Hope traveling around, and it had to work both ways. Do you find that soldiers from those days come up to you even now and say, you won't remember this, but I saw you in Italy?
Oh, it's marvelous, because, you know, I keep thinking, if I haven't seen them for years, they're going to look exactly the same. And then all of a sudden, some very nice bald-headed man will come up and say to me, hey, Maxine, don't you remember me? I was a little fella that fell off of the rafters in Naples, Italy.
And if he had weighed as much then as he weighs today, he'd have broken his neck, huh? Well, if you'd like to see Maxine perform some of the great songs from that era and some from today, and a nice mixture of great music, she is performing through November 22nd.
That's right.
At the Plush Room in San Francisco, at the Hotel York.
That's right.
Beautiful, intimate room.
I think it's the best room in the country today.
Really?
There aren't many nightclubs as we knew them many, many years ago. Just don't exist anymore.
Yeah.
And the little supper clubs are having a very, very difficult struggle. But the Plush Room, to me, is really one of the finest rooms in the entire country.
And you can see a fine singer there, and I sure appreciate your coming on.
Oh, it's been wonderful.
Maxine Andrews, it's wonderful to meet you.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
We're going to take a break, and Marty Cohen will be right out and make us laugh. Maxine Andrews. say you're from Newark, California? Sonia? She came in with some flowers for me. That's very nice of you. I will return the favor right now by introducing one of the stars of one of television's most popular shows, Solid Gold, the guy who makes everybody laugh throughout the show. Would you welcome a... I start laughing just talking about him. Here's Marty Cohen.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much. How are you? Nice to see you. I'm laughing because I was at home watching TV and I saw the dumbest thing on TV. A guy was trying to sell knowledge of the cosmos. The guy actually went, "How much would you be willing to pay for the secrets of the universe?" Hold it. Before you answer, what if we told you we were going to include a 12-piece cutlery set? Like they put all the answers on the knife, right? I don't know. I don't need to know the secrets of the universe. I need to know. I need to get help with women. I think I have trouble. I do. I have to admit it. I know you don't. I don't look like the kind of guy that would. Yeah, but no, I need help. I need help because women. I have. Let me tell you how tough it is for me. I'll give you an example. Like my sex life is not real good. For example, right now the girl in my fantasies is seeing another guy. Okay, so I had a friend who told me. I had a friend. It's true. A friend of mine told me if you blow in a girl's ear, it'll turn her on, you know? So I had this girl out for dinner last night. I tried it, and I don't think she liked it because she broke my straw. So of course, it's hard to make a girl think you're a real He-Man when she's cutting your steak for you. But in high school, I always would go out with the easy girl in the school. You know, the easy girl? There was one in every high school. In our school, the girl's name was Frida. They used to call her Free Frida. Girl was easy, you know what I'm saying? Only one in the class picture lying down, okay? So and ugly, this girl was a dog. I mean, just a terrible, oh yeah, she was a dog. We were leaving her apartment. She said, "You drive, I'll chase the car." So, that was one of my mom's little rules. I had to go out with ugly girls. Mom didn't like me a lot. She never worried about me. She was, I'll be honest, she was selfish, my mother. She was. I remember one time when I was a real little boy, I accidentally swallowed all of her Valiums. And she got real upset. Yeah, she called the doctor and said, Doctor, Marty accidentally swallowed all my Valiums. How soon can you refill the prescription?" Did your mom ever do this? My mom, I know all mothers do this. Doesn't matter what your ethnic background. My mom used to always say this: "Don't wear those underwear. They've got holes in them." And I always say, "Yeah, Mom, that's how I get my legs in." You know? She'd say, "Those underwear have holes in them. Don't wear them." Here was her logic: what if you get hit by a car and you have to go to the hospital? Which made me think if the underwear didn't have holes, the car would bounce off. You know. But she'd always say that, wear underwear with no holes, you gotta wear it. So finally what I did, I went out and bought a brand new pair of underwear, put a little note on it, put it in my pocket. In case of accident, please put these on. Well, listen, we'll return you to the live portion of our show right after this brief commercial pause. Get yourself a pencil and paper. I'm about to tell you about a most fantastic offer. How would you like to have on this one long-playing stereo album, Feelings? Now, who can take us? I've been tired yet. Well, you can't tell, but yes, it's the overplayed hits of the 70s. The songs that were played over and over and over again. Ain't got no worries in my I got it. Songs made you happy, made you sad, made you nauseous, made you mad. All on this one big album, Sunshine. I take a letter, but feelings. You can't forget that classic hit song. Oh, cause we won't let you feel. And if you're foolish enough to order right now, operators are on duty to send you this extra added TV bonus, the collected works of Barry Manilow. I write the songs that make the whole. Yes, he wrote all the songs. They're all on this album, and they're all the same. Hey, remember I used to hate those songs when we drove to work, school, or play? Well, now they'll drive you to distraction in your very own home. Feet, before you take that big New England weekend and reach for that Rocky Mountain high, ease on down and order a copy of the overplayed hits of the 70s. Let it take me, ease on the way, not creep, we've only. Yes, we'll just begun to pay out order this fantastic album. Send $4.95 if you want it, $9.95 if you don't. To, you guessed it, Feelings. That's Feelings. Whoa, Feelings box. Whoa. Do it now. This record is not available. Thank you. You've been nice. Thank you.
I'll take a copy of that record. You know, watching you, I have a feeling in high school, you must have been interesting for the teachers to deal with in class. Huh?
I was a good boy, actually.
Were
I was
you?
a good student. I just talked real fast, and they'd always say things like, huh?
But I would love to hear you talk that fast when answering a question talking about the, you know, who are the presidents of the United States or something, you know.
Tom Campbell does that.
Yeah,
you know Tom Campbell, the guy that
he
does the
does
Cal
commercials.
Stereo? Yeah, well, he does that here. He says, you know, San Francisco, San Mateo, Belmont. But in Los Angeles, the man has 16 stores. It's Bellflower, Canoga Park, Bellflower, Canoga Park, Garden Grove, Torrance, West Covina, West LA, San Bernardino, North Hollywood, Pasadena, Woodard, Riverside, Monterey Park, up in Anaheim, our new store on the moon. Tom.
I like it. Marty Cohen. I want to mention Marty is appearing at the Ad Lib downstairs at the boarding house.
Tonight.
Tonight.
8:30.
8:30.
11 o'clock.
11 o'clock.
Downstairs at the boarding house.
Saturday.
Tomorrow night also.
8:30.
Please come.
11 o'clock. Be right back after this. We're back. Ned, thank you for joining us. Marty Cohen. Maxine, pleasure to meet you.
Thank you.
Tomorrow night, rather Monday night, John and Bo Derek, Donnie and Marie Osmond, Lynn Redgrave, Paula Prentice, Richard Benjamin, and Burt Reynolds answer the critics. Unbelievable. Monday night right here. Thanks for joining us. Good night. Get it up.
Some of the guests of SFO stay at the beautiful Hyatt Hotel on Union Square. From San Francisco, it's Steve Jamison's SFO. And now, here's Steve.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Thank you for joining us at home. And let me tell you what we have on tonight. Not what we have on. Who we have on. We have who's, not what's tonight. Let me tell you what's what on our show tonight. If you watch Dallas, we have one of the stars, one of the more interesting characters on Dallas. Are you familiar with the name Ray Krebs? Yes. Ray is here tonight. In the form of Steve Canale, who is the character, who plays the character Ray Krebs. And strangely enough, Steve says that that character, a lot of it is really based on his own personality. We're going to find out more about that later. But I would like to introduce a gentleman right now, one of the stars of Real People. You may have seen him on Fernwood Tonight. Fine comedian, actor, and all-around nice fellow. Would you welcome Fred Willard.
One reason I always enjoy coming here, the people in San Francisco are terrific.
Yeah,
they really are.
yeah, we got a good crowd tonight.
Yes.
You know, before you joined us this afternoon, I was reading through your list of credits, and I'm not sure I mentioned some of them when we were doing the introduction. But you've done a variety of things. Fernwood Tonight. Yes. Acting.
Yeah.
Films.
I try to do just about everything.
Singing.
Yeah.
I know you do some singing in your act.
Yes.
It's
yes.
It must be kind of exciting because
you
do about everything.
You've got to try to do everything. And, you know, one thing I've always regretted. I look at you and I envy you the shoes that you're in, because you are. You are a talk show host, and I'd kind of like to do that. You know, I co-hosted on Fernwood Tonight and America Tonight, and I'm kind of a co-host on Real People. But to have your own show like this and bring out who you want to and talk to them, have the people come, and well, I think it's wonderful. It's a wonderful opportunity.
It's fun because you know you meet a lot of interesting people. Sure. And you're kind of the boss on it.
Sure, maybe, that's what I like about it, I guess.
Yeah. Someday you might have a chance, somebody gets sick, to fill in for him, and I think you'll enjoy it. I think you'd be good doing it. What else have you...
Why not right here? There's a show right here, and I believe in grabbing an opportunity.
No, I would like... There is no opportunity, though, Fred.
But I would like to try to host this show here, and you know why? Because I think I know who I'd have for my first guest, you, an interview, because I think a lot of people would like to know about you. Would you like to see me host just for a few minutes? That's your San Francisco tribe. How about that? You're beautiful. What a beautiful crowd. Steve, leave it to me.
I'll be the guest?
You be the guest, right. Now, I have never done this
I'll leave and you'll introduce me?
Right, I am working with absolutely no knowledge at all, so why don't you get off there and let me see. Okay, welcome to Fred Willard's San Francisco. Fred Willard's California, I like that. West Coast, United States. Hello.
Steve Jamison's SFO. Let's leave that part.
Okay. I was just about to do a little... Hello. Let's get on with the show. We got a lot of fun things to do, and we're going to do them all for you. Let that be my theme song when I do the show again.
Fred, just introduce me. Introduce me. I'll be the guest.
I think
get me out
you
on
get
the show, Fred.
For a theme song, don't you?
I asked
about
him to
$900 for $9,000. Yeah, that's great. You make just millions by that. Okay. Well, we have some interesting guests tonight. We have some very interesting guests and a lot of exciting things happening. But before we get into that, I'd like to bring out someone who I think you might enjoy talking to. Steve Jamison. Steve, come on out here. Steve, you know, this is one of the things I've wanted to look forward to as a host. Like, I could come on and tell these people that I used to be on Fernwood Tonight and am currently on Real People, and films I've done like First Family that Buck Henry directed, and he doesn't pick anyone to be in a movie, you know.
That's good.
But the people aren't interested in that. They want to know something about Steve Jamison, the host. We see your name, we see your picture on the tube. We don't really know the personality. What makes you tick?
Yeah.
Now, take me, for instance. I might come to San Francisco doing some kind of date, maybe a concert at Candlestick Park, or maybe just out there at the ballpark talking, you know, schmoozing, as we call it, with the ball players.
Yeah.
You know, during the season, I'd get out and throw the ball around, and if they guys find out I came up here during the season and didn't stop by, they come down on my head.
I like baseball.
Yeah, me too. What happened to Mike Ivey this year? I don't know what is wrong with him. I couldn't straighten him out. He's with Houston or something else. Let me ask you, there's some questions I want to ask you, and I think everyone wants to know.
Yeah, I'd be happy to
A lot of questions I could ask you, like, how long have you been doing this show here, Steve?
Well, the show has been
another
on...
question that people might be interested in, how do you find, more important, how do you find and relate to the people of San Francisco, who I find great?
That's the
best. Question, no, here's what people want to know. Where does someone like you, where are your roots? Where did a Steve Jamison come from?
I come from
Now, take me, for instance.
Minnesota.
I'm from Cleveland, Ohio. I was a
You're from
dropout.
Cleveland?
Yeah. Did you go all the way through school? I dropped out. People said, don't. Get your education. But I went into school. And it didn't bother me at all because I recently took an IQ test. I was told I have the equivalent of a first grade education.
You found
so
that
it didn't
out.
bother me at all. I think I've asked
went to the
enough
University of
questions,
Wisconsin, Fred.
And I went, no, wait a minute, enough questions. Let me get up here and see what the audience wants to know about
They'll
you.
ask me some questions?
Yeah, anybody want to ask a question of Steve Jamison? Anyone? Oh, come on, someone must. Here's a lady with a question. Would you stand up here? And do you have a question about Steve?
Yes.
Yes.
Is Steve Jamison your real name?
I don't know.
Jamison
Steve
is my-
no, wait. I want to ask you a question. I love that outfit, that sweater and the skirt. It's
Fred.
dynamite, the whole color combination.
Fred.
Can I ask you a personal question? Do you buy something like that, like when it goes on the counter, or do you wait for a sale? Am I being too personal?
Fred.
A lot of stores, they have great stores here in San Francisco. Have
I
you
don't
noticed
care
that?
about the stores,
Of
Fred.
course
Yes.
not. I don't know where you get your skirts and blouses. Come on, I'm kidding, because they're expecting that of
Steve,
me.
yes.
They're expecting that. But would you go to like buy something on a sale here? Or do they put kind of shoddy merchandise out?
I guess so.
Okay. Any other
Fred,
questions
this lady
for
has
Steve?
a question over here for me.
Wait,
If I
is
could
there a
just answer,
question?
if you have a question, I'd be
Anyone
happy.
have a question
I'd be
here?
happy to address yourself.
Anybody
myself,
have
to
a question?
yourself.
Yes, young lady. Would you stand up? A very,
Hi, how are you?
very pretty young lady. Could I ask you? Are you still in high school?
What's your question?
2 years.
You've been out 2 years. Okay.
You had a question for Steve Jamison.
You had a question for Steve.
What
do
is
you
it,
want to
ma'am?
know?
Are you married?
Steve is married. Or I don't know whether I should answer that because you know, in this business,
Fred,
and
I'm
let me
single.
say this. Let me say this, Steve. Let me answer this. Okay, I think I can answer it better than
Sorry,
you
I
can.
butted in.
A performer has an image to maintain. What do? Do you say you're married and have all the girls, much like yourself, you know, say, oh gosh, I don't have any chance. What's the use of watching the show? Or do you think, hey, the guy's at this age and he's still single, is something a little bit wrong, you know? I don't know. I'm not saying anything. I'm not saying.
You've gone too far. I don't mind kidding around, but I'm single. Yes, I am. Steve Jamison's my real name. Fred, you were going to do it and do it like you were auditioning for a
I
hosting
know, but
job.
I know, but I
I
think
think
did
you've got a lot of work to do.
No, wait a minute.
I
Let the
don't think
audience
you're a very good
decide.
host.
Let the audience decide that. Let's have a little
I
contest.
don't have to have.
No, wait a second. I'm still in charge here. And let's have a vote.
right.
How many think Steve Jamison is a better host than I am? Come on.
Thank you.
Oh, come on. Let me hear it. I don't know, Steve.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
How many think I'm the better host? Okay, all right. That was a cliffhanger. That's a close one.
Fred, there
You know
was
what I'd
nobody
like to do?
applauding
It's a
for you.
tie. It's
There
a
was
tie.
nobody applauding for
I'll
you.
tell you what, when we go to commercial, let's take a hands vote. When we come back, the one who was voted down will no longer be here, okay? The
Fred,
winner
give me
will
that
be-
microphone.
Oh, wait a second.
Give me the microphone
Okay.
and let me be the host. It's my show.
All right, I'll
you
do-
promised me you'd just come out and be for a little while. I didn't get to answer one question.
Well,
you butted in and you talked to this lady.
did
and then
you want to
got
answer-
into whether I was.
Did you want to answer questions from the audience?
Well, that's what they were asking,
All right,
weren't
now
you?
you just answered one, didn't you?
Get out, Fred, get out of here. We'll
I'm
be
telling
right
you, it's
back
terrific.
with Steve
You're
Canady.
beautiful.
Philadelphia's band. All right. I guess you could say that the most popular television over the last 2 or 3 years has been Dallas. JR's escapades have fascinated a nation. In fact, other countries are following it as closely as we are here. One of the most interesting and most popular characters on Dallas is Ray Krebs. And we have Ray with us tonight. The gentleman, the fine actor who plays Ray on Dallas is with us. I'd like you to welcome Steve Canale. Listen, I hope you don't mind my asking right off the top here. Do you have any aspirations to host your own talk show or not?
Well, yes, as a matter of fact.
Don't tell me that. Don't tell me that.
I was going to ask you a few things about where you're from. Wisconsin, I understand.
Close enough. Minnesota.
Yeah, Minnesota.
You know, I was reading about your show in the paper, the Chronicle, recently, and a reverend in Washington was testifying, and he said Dallas, he was isolating the problems we have in our society today, violence and sex and all of that. I'm not sure sex is you know, I'm saying that's not a problem in my opinion, sex, as a matter of fact. But he was blaming all of the bad stuff on 2 things, General Hospital and Dallas. And I said, I have a feeling perhaps our problems go deeper than that. What's your feeling?
Well, I don't see how it could be anything else but Dallas and General Hospital. It's really
it's obvious.
The roots of the whole problem.
I said before you came out that the character you play, really, you say that a lot of it is just you. You put a lot of your own tendencies in that character.
Well,
the illegitimate son part of it aside.
Well, I'd like to get to that, but that was a fun thing that we did, and I will come to that. But Lorimar and Leonard Katzman, our producer, has been very receptive to all of us from the very beginning in terms of developing these characters. So it turned out to be a wonderful thing that you know, you just don't normally expect to find in a television production, television series especially. You know, normally you say, these are the parameters that we play the characters in, and you work along these lines. But, you know, Larry, for instance, came in with a marvelous idea for his character. Yeah. And I don't think they ever imagined JR as being what he has become. And the same is true of many of our characters, mine included.
Did I hear that yours kind of developed while you were playing tennis with JR? Yeah,
I was unhappy. I was the ranch hand, and when matters pertain to family business, Ray was excluded, so it's not in every show. And, you know, it's a business. You want to work. You want to be out there. You want to be, you know, keeping up with the gang. Mm-hmm. So Larry and I play racquetball. That's what it actually was. And I was telling him I was thinking about leaving. I'm very serious about leaving. And I thought I could do better elsewhere. And he says, you're crazy. Let me tell you about a successful television series, what it could mean for you, kid. You just don't want to do it. And Jim Davis gave me this advice, and a lot of other people did, but I still had this thought. Anyway, Larry and I sat down over some beers at my house that afternoon, and we said, what can we do to remedy the situation? What suggestion can we give them
Get you in more of the shows, huh?
Right, and the idea was that if anybody looked like Jim, it was myself. The 2 of us looked like father and son, way ahead of Larry and Patrick. So it took a couple of years to put that idea into works in the show, but it was certainly a key change for my character. Yeah.
So I also heard that your whole acting experience was sort of a strange turn of events that led to it. You got into it almost accidentally?
Yes.
Is that right?
Very much accidentally.
You must have great good luck then.
I think
How did it happen that you became an actor?
My initial interest in films and the industry had to do with Apocalypse Now in 1968.
Acting?
I was a technical advisor to John Milius,
Really?
who wrote the script. I had been in Vietnam, and I was in the 1st Cav division. It was a real active airmobile, helicopter-equipped division that he was interested in writing about. And along the way, somebody said, well, you ought to be in the picture, Steve. You could play this character. And Milius said, well, I never thought of that, but that's a good idea. And, you know, I said, come on, you guys. You know, I'm an art student. I do this, I do that. I'm not an actor. Yeah. He said, well, you don't have to be an actor. You were in Vietnam. You know about this. You could play that character. What's to it? So I didn't do that picture in 1968. Nobody made movies about Vietnam then. And there was a couple of other projects that I came close on. But I was finally in my first picture in 1970 when I did The Life and Times of Judge Roy Bean. Now, Ned Beatty was in earlier. And Ned was one of the bad guys that joins Bean's gang. And we become the marshals, and he becomes the big judge. And
It is kind of a strange turn of events that led to it. I mean, this was not a big goal all your life to be a movie star or a
No, and I
television
grew
star.
up in Los Angeles, and a lot of people, of course, I suppose, come from all around the country to get into that industry there. I think if you're surrounded by it, you don't take it seriously.
Say, we just have a couple of minutes, and if, with your permission, I would like to introduce your wife, who is with us tonight in the audience. We won't ask her. We'll just invite her up. Is that all right?
That's very nice.
Would you welcome Mrs. Steve Canale, Brett Canale.
Now, this is Brent's maiden voyage on a television show of
First
this
time?
nature. That's right.
Oh, I didn't realize that, or I would have been a...
Not happy.
I would have checked it out a little
You
more.
would have been nicer to her, is
Yeah.
that it?
Well, one of the reasons I wanted to ask you a couple of questions is because with his emergence as a star, does it cause any problems as husband and wife? Does it alter any of the relationship, you know? I mean, all of a sudden, people all over know who he is?
It really hasn't caused too much problem between us. I mean, we've been able to work anything out that's been like that, and we sort of race through airports now, and any large crowds we sort of make a beeline for.
Yeah.
But it's created some interesting opportunities, and we've been able to travel more around the United States.
Where did you two meet?
Well, at home, well, in Los Angeles, in Calabasas. Steve was running a trap and skeet club.
A trap and skeet.
Where you shoot
Yeah,
clay
gun-
targets with
yeah.
shotguns.
You've had an interesting career.
Well, I was into sporting things in my life, you know. That's where I met John Milius, by the way, too.
Were you shooting skeet?
Yeah,
With
I
my
gave her a
father.
lesson.
Oh, I see. Was it love at first sight or not?
Yes, sort of.
I
Wasn't
tell
it?
her
Sort of.
it was. No, it was. And the cute part to this story is that I was managing this gun club and giving a lot of people lessons. And a lot of men would dump their wives because it's like teaching them to drive.
Yeah.
So they didn't want to teach them to handle a gun. So Brent was very good, much more so than any of the other women I had worked with. And she never takes credit for this, but she broke 17 out of 25 after one lesson.
Really?
I thought that was very good.
I see. There was a little magic there maybe going on. Huh?
I said I had
Good
to know
instructor.
this girl a little better. I think.
Do you still shoot skeet or not? I mean, is that part of what you do these days? Or was it just a means to getting married?
Well, we don't shoot anymore.
I
don't
see.
think.
I see.
Not
It's tennis
particularly.
It was more
It's
of a
tennis.
means to get
That's
married.
I see.
It was more of a means to keep your head above water. I was doing that while I was going to school,
Yeah.
and that's the way I supported myself.
Yeah. Well, I know that the marriage has been a success because not only professionally are you doing very well, but you have a 3-month-old child and one 3 years old.
Right.
I'd say
Yes.
best
Little ones
wish-
at home.
Yeah, you better get going. You have some diapers to change.
Right.
Don't remind us. We're up here trying to relax.
We'd
for the
like to
weekend.
give you a
Wednesday
year's
weekend.
supply of Pampers, but it's not in the budget for
Okay.
you. Brent, thank you for being with
Thank
us. And
you,
Steve, I
Steve.
appreciate your joining us. And
Thank
we'll be
you very
watching to
much.
see what happens to Mr. Krebs in the future on Dallas.
Gets a little hairy this year.
All right, we'll be
everybody.
watching. Thanks for being with us. And Mr. Willard shall return right after this. Don't go away. Be right back. Billy? let you be the judge of whether or not Fred Willard has a great career in store for him as a talk show host. But I'll tell you this, he has a great career going for him as a comedian. I'd like to welcome him back. Would you welcome again, Fred Willard?
For the band, the music is terrific, and that made me think of something. You know, music adds so much to our lives, to show business. Look what it does to this show. It gives it practically a professional feeling. And a lot of our lives, if you realize, I don't know if you're like me, I'm always feeling that maybe something is not quite right. Problems aren't solved as easily as they should be. Now, the reason is we're used to seeing movies, and we're used to seeing TV shows where the actors like Robert Redford and Robert De Niro and Robert Duvall, and not just actors named Robert, all actors, they seem to know what's happening. They know when there's danger, they know when there's a time for romance, they meet the right girl, because there is a theme, a score to tell them in the movies what's happening. And a lot of us have never gotten married. I think this applies to Steve, maybe. I'm not sure, we didn't straighten that up. Maybe he never met the right girl who made sweet music, or he didn't hear bells ring, you know? Let me illustrate something. Suppose you're at a party, and guys, this has probably happened to you. You're at a party, someone says, Fred, I'd like you to meet Mary. Oh, hi, Mary. Gee, what kind of stuff in here, isn't it? Is there a liquor in that punch bowl? Yeah, I don't know. See, you want to leave her and circulate a bit, and the good thing about this is there doesn't have to be anyone standing over there to return it. But this may seem rude to the ladies, but you don't want to be stuck with the first woman you're talking to. You want to kind of circulate. Unless, guys, she's really a knockout, a great-looking girl, and then you know the problem. She's not going to be interested in you, right? She's waiting for some guy with a leather jacket open to here with no shirt underneath, you know? A lot of chest hair, a lot of hair on the back of his palms, and a lot of head hair, a kind of guy who goes to a hair salon to get his nose and ear hair styled, you know? Usually looks like it's a little man sticking in there trying to get out, hairy arms and legs. And this annoys me because she's not going to give you 2 minutes to let you know what kind of a guy you are. And I want to say, I'm sorry for wasting your time. Why don't you, I'll leave you to your punch bowl. Why don't you take a taste? I don't know if there's liquor in it. Why don't you taste it? There's no cup. Well, put your head right in the bowl. All right? It never gets that bad. If we could have some music, though. And guys, give me a little like meeting a girl at a party. Fred, I'd like you to meet Mary. Mary, this is Fred. Oh, hi. Well, hi, how are you? How do you spell that? M-A-R-Y. That's an interesting name. Mary, why don't you and I cut out and go down by the ocean and walk along the beach? There's a beautiful moon down there. And you take her hand and you're walking along the beach. It could be nighttime. It could be raining. You don't care because you hear this music, and it could be love. But what if the music stops? See, and then there's suddenly a difference. You're walking with a girl you hardly know. You're standing on pebbles, and you're stepping on shells, and you're walking in tar. At least you hope it's tar. You know, you don't want to really investigate and say, oh, that's poop. I stepped in poop. Complete turnoff to a girl. Another problem, guys, if you ever grabbed a girl's hand, you're walking along, it seems great until, give it a minute 15 at the most. You're holding a girl's hand you don't even know, and her palms are starting to sweat. You know it's not yours. You can't just say, let's stop holding hands. And if you drop her hand, she'll say, what's wrong? Or if you say, gee, suppose you got an itch. Then you say, I'm going to let go of your hand with my right hand, but take it again with my left hand, thereby freeing my right hand to gratify this itch. Too formal, too wordy. Of course, if you've been going with her a long time, you can say, hey, you got sharp nails. Could I borrow your hand to scratch my rear end? Oh, yeah. Yeah, that feels great. And then if you're walking along, say you take off your shoes and socks, you're walking along in the water, and you hear something like this. You know, there's sharks in the water. You get out of the water. And I don't understand it. 2 movies have played that music distinctly. People don't catch on and get out of the water. I love... Let me hear that again. What is that? Sounds like a transistor. Yeah, let's swim out by those fins. Okay. I love the horror films, and I just want to show you one thing at the end, how the new monsters are much scarier than the old ones. You know, did you see the howling? I mean, the way that thing turns into a monster. I mean, it makes Lon Chaney's Wolfman look like a little pet. The old monsters, like the Mummy. Give me some Mummy walking at you music. The music is scary, remember? But if you realize he's only walking this fast, you could walk away from him, you could taunt him. Hey, Mummy, over here, come on. You could grab him by the bandages and give him a spin around. It's not the same. Thank you very much. Where's the...
We'll be right back. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
joining us, and good night. Tomorrow night, Maria, Vito, Scotty, and Charles.
Oh, shut up.
And a wonderful audience. Thanks for dropping by, Steve. Thanks so much.
You said